Welcome back. Well, voting's officially done in our 6 municipal elections. And if you're just waking up, quite late actually, having a lion, that turnout doesn't look that great. Now nearly 20% of the total ballots have been counted so far, and the ANC has already clinched control of its first municipality. Our in-house election experts have also called the city of Cape Town for the Democratic Alliance. But to run us through the nuances of the numbers right now, we've got our resident political commentator, Wayne Sussman, our Johannesburg studio this morning. It's Sussman, not Sussman. We were having a discussion about how you don't like to be called Sussman, and I just called you that. I'm so sorry. Wayne, our human calculator, let's just talk about some of the local smaller parties in the Western Cape.
Great. So just again, eNCA is going to broadcast the results of every single municipality in the country. Yes, we're focusing on the metros, but we also want to see the trends on the local level. So we've got 4 municipalities I want to run you through quickly. The first is Kannaland. Now, Kannaland is in the Ladysmith part of the Western Cape. It includes Carlisdorp as well, beautiful part of the world. Now, this is an example of a local party which has been the leading party for a number of years. That's the eNCA party. Now, when we look at the results, they've held on to their 3 seats. There are only 7 seats in the municipality. The ANC have won 2 seats. The DA have won 1 seat. Now, a party I'd never heard of, the Kannaland Independent Party, have won a seat. 3 seats for eNCA plus 1 for the Kannaland Independent Party could see a historic event happening in the Western Cape. 2 local parties who have nothing to do with the ANC and nothing to do with the DA could be leading this municipality for the next 5 years. And this is a fascinating development because, as I've said, historically all coalitions in the Western Cape have either relied on the DA or the ANC. And what we're seeing here is that 2 local parties might join hands and keep the big guns out. So that's the first development.
Wayne, in terms of experience, these smaller parties, have they had any experience before in politics? Do they know how to run a municipality? That seems to be, that must be of some concern.
It's a great question. So eNCA have been around the block a few times. We've seen many local parties across this country get a stab, and I'm going to give you 2 more results now which point to your exact question, who've tried governing and haven't succeeded. But eNCA have stuck around and continued to capture the political imagination of voters in that part of the Western Cape. Let's go to Laingsburg, the smallest municipality in our country, well, the municipality with the least amount of voters. There we see the DA getting 3 seats, and then you see the ANC finishing on 2 seats. And a new party called the Karoo Democratic Force, which come from Beaufort West, and Gayton Mackenzie's Patriotic Alliance getting a seat each. Now, what's going to happen, and I don't want to confuse the voters, is that the viewers, not the voters, that in Laingsburg, the previous mayor was a 1-seat party from a party called the Karoo Ontwikkelingsparty. They've lost their seat. The voters have rejected them. The voters have turned to another regional party, and they've turned to Gayton Mackenzie's Patriotic Alliance. So what I'm trying to say is what the voters of Laingsburg are saying, the former local party was not good enough. We're bringing in a new one, and we're bringing in Gayton Mackenzie's Patriotic Alliance, and they'll hopefully work better with the ANC in the next 5 years. Now, let me give you another example. We go to Cedarburg, beautiful part of the country by the Cedarburg Mountains in the West Coast District. There you see the ANC and the DA lose votes to a party called Cedarburg First. Now, why is this important? This is a 2 prominent business people have joined hands and said, we can govern our town better than the ANC and the DA. And what we see, this party getting 3 seats, and they are the kingmakers here. And they're going to use their business connections. They're going to use their community leadership connections. So what these voters in these small towns are telling us is that, on the one hand, if you're going to mess up, we're going to kick you out. But if you capture our hearts and minds, and if you put our town first, if you put our municipality first, we'll vote you in and give you a chance. So the voters of Cedarburg are going to probably elect someone called Dr. Reuben Richards as their next mayor of Cedarburg. Fascinating newcomer to politics. I didn't see this coming. I'm eating humble pie, and voters have given up their mind. And that's why we've got to focus on all these municipalities to see, are there we're always speaking about independence, but I also said before the election, let's focus on these local parties and regional parties. They might become the party of choice for many people across the length and breadth of our country.
Before we get to Ekurhuleni, I just want to put into context Gayton McKenzie. We know him as a former convict. Everybody deserves a second chance. He has been politicking for some time now. Has he evolved as a politician on the ground? Has he moved beyond his provenance or his past, so to speak?
Well, Gayton McKenzie makes a giant splash in 2 by-elections in Eldorado Park in the south of Johannesburg, taking 2 safe wards off the DA, and a ward in Riverlea, another area in the south of Johannesburg. Here we see him win seats in the most rural parts of the Western Cape. So his political campaign is clearly working. Gayton McKenzie's Patriotic Alliance is going to be sitting in coalitions in many rural municipalities across the Western Cape. If this trend continues, like we're seeing in places like Laingsburg, like we're seeing in Prince Albert, Gayton McKenzie's Patriotic Alliance is now a force to be reckoned with in rural parts of the Western Cape.
Why?
Because I think he says it like it is. I think the fact that there's a spiritual development to his party. They speak a lot about faith. By the way, I didn't know this. Here we are in Johannesburg speaking about PA. Apparently in the rural parts of the Western Cape, they speak about Pa, which is about fatherhood, right, about being a father. And I think he says it as it is. He is someone who is against illegal immigration, against illegal immigrants. He's someone who's saying, I'm here to represent coloured people first. That is my constituency. And it's clear that that message has resonated with more and more voters.
The latest on Ekurhuleni?
So the bad news for the ANC continues. Remember, we said earlier that the ANC came perilously close in 2016 of winning an outright majority. They fell short. The million-dollar question was, could they get over the line this time? Their answer is no. They are skating much closer to the 40% mark than the 50% mark. And when we look at their strongholds, that's key. Turnout is key, but we also want to focus on the historic areas where the ANC pulled out their voters. They are losing voters to the EFF, and they just were not able to get out their voters yesterday. And these are some of the many challenges facing the ANC in this metro.
Wayne, before I let you go into the numbers room, results coming in, the way they're trickling through compared to 2016, when do you think we're likely, and I know this puts you on the spot, I'm sorry, when do you think we're likely to get a final result?
Well, I think it took 2 days. 2016 was such a blur from the lack of coffee and the lack of sleep. But I think it should be quicker. Look, there are definitely delays. If I look at eThekwini, Durban, so many eyes on that metro, we're simply not getting enough results. Maybe they started coming through and I'll go back to the numbers room. So some results are coming through quickly. I mean, the last time I was here, I spoke about 2 municipalities. In the last half an hour, 45 minutes, it's been 4 municipalities. So let's hope it's quicker than last time and that by late afternoon, we'll be able to make a call on the overwhelming amount of metros, and by tomorrow, we'll know all the results.
All right, our human calculator, elections analyst, Wayne Sussman, thank you so much for your time this morning. We look forward to you coming back with more municipalities. As you say, those numbers are starting to come in a little faster as the morning progresses. Keep with us today because it's going to be results right up until midnight, and then we start again tomorrow morning.